Hello, today I would like to show you how to crochet this Tunisian crochet stitch, which I came up with, and I also had to come up with the name then. So initially I called it a very long name, which was Lace Lattice bamboo stitch. So lace, of course, because it's a lace pattern and it's got a lattice texture. You see it goes in one direction, and it's made in a similar way to the bamboo stitch by flipping stitches over the yoke. However, this is a very long name, so I decided to make it short, and I'm just gonna call it Trellis Lace stitch. So for this scarf that I'm making, I'm using this King Cold Riot double knitting. But for this tutorial I will be using a paint box yarn, Simply Yarn, in this green color, and I hope it's gonna be visible enough. And I will be using a 8mm Tunisian crochet hook. So to crochet this pattern we will need to start a foundation row with a multiple of 3 plus 2 stitches. The multiple of 3 is for the stitch pattern itself, and the plus 2 is for the edges. So I will be starting with a slip knot and a foundation row. So let's say that for this tutorial I will be using 5 multiplied by 3, so 15 plus 2, 17 stitches. So it's 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 9, 10, 14, 15, and 17. Okay, so now I go on with my foundation row. Okay, so we go on with the regular Tunisian return pass for the foundation row. So we just yarn over and pull through 1, and then yarn over and pull through 2 until the end. And here we go. So once we have our foundation row ready, we can immediately start with the stitch pattern. So the first loop on your hook counts already as your first stitch, so it's one of the 2 stitches that we added for the edge. So here we go. So from this, so the pattern works over the next 3 stitches, so it's a repeat of 3. So how it works is by making a Tunisian simple stitch in the first 3 stitches, just as a regular Tunisian crochet. And then what we do is we take this first loop of the 3 repeat and we bring it over the other 2 and off the hook, and as simple as that. And then we go on and we repeat the same over the next 3 stitches. So we make 3 Tunisian simple stitches, and then we bring this hook of the this loop of the hook. So there are, like, you can either do this with your hands, okay, and you take it off the hook, or the other thing that you can do if you're more confident that way is by, like, once you have your 3 loops for the repeat, you just, with your hook, you pull these 2 through this one. For some reason I prefer pulling it with my hands, but I guess with your hook is easier and faster. It's just, you know, whatever you prefer, you feel more confident. So we need 1 more repeat. Okay, and now you see we have done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 repeats, which was the ones that we had counted as 5 multiplied by 3. So here we go, we've done all our repeats, and we only have to crochet the last stitch, so which we make as you would normally do under both loops at the end. And there we go. So this is our first row. So now the return pass is not a regular return pass, because you see that here we got rid of a few stitches. So every time we pull the loop over the other two end of the hook, we basically removed a stitch from our work. So we need to add one chain for each one of these stitches that we removed. So for the first, so you see that the first 3 stitches are fine because we didn't do anything. The first problem is at the 4th stitch. So we start by making as you normally do, like you yarn over and you pull through the first stitch. So we have like this edge done, and then we close the next 2 stitches as regular. So we yarn over and pull through 2, and then yarn over and pull through 2 again. So at this point you see that we would normally have this stitch, which we don't have now. So what we do is we just chain 1, and then we go on to close these next 2 stitches as normal. So we yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2. Now again, here there is this gap because we removed a stitch. So we chain 1, and we continue like this until we have reached the end. So again, chain 1, yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2, and chain 1. And again for the last, you see, for the first repeat that we did. So we yarn over, pull through 2, pull through 2, we chain 1 last one, and then we can close the last stitch on its own. And here we are at the end of row 1. So now of course it's difficult to see anything at all because the pattern is still not grown. So now we go on with the second row. So for the second row, you see that the first thing that you have here is a chain 1 space. So in that chain 1 space, so pull your loop tight around your hook so you avoid a bit of a wonky edge. So in that, I was saying, this first chain 1 space, we need to add again 1 stitch, otherwise we are 1 stitch short. So the way we do it is by making a full stitch in there. So we just go into the space. Let's do it again. So we insert our hook inside this this space here, and we pull up a loop. Now in the next 2 stitches, we just work regular Tunisian simple stitches. So 1 and 2. But in the next one, you see that we again have one chain 1 space. So again, the same as we did here, we go there and we make a full stitch. So now it's time to repeat the pattern again. So because without counting these 2, now we're gonna take this loop and flip it over the other 2. You see, so because the pattern goes in this direction, so these ones we just ignore. So basically the repeats are going to be, so here you see we started making our pattern immediately without, like just the edges. So now we have to shift this pattern, these repeats, like Tunisian simple stitch 1. So we need to shift this pattern of 1 stitch. So here with this 1 stitch stays there. We don't work it. And now we have again like 2 Tunisian simple stitches. Okay, and again we make a full stitch in this chain 1 space, and we go on and you see remove this loop from the hook, and we repeat the same. So basically the pattern is you make 2 Tunisian simple stitches on each of the TSS from the previous row, and then you make a full stitch in each one of these chain one spaces, and then the stitch that you flip is the one that you made here. So we make 1, 2, and a full stitch, and then you take it and flip. Okay, we repeat it. 1, 2, and a full stitch. Remove it. So now let's see. So in this row we have 1, 2, 3, and 4 repeats so far, and now we have these 2 Tunisian simple stitches and the last one. So here we don't do anything, we just work these 2 stitches like regular Tunisian simple stitches. Okay, they're just 2, so we basically leave them here because in this second row you see like we have like 2, and then this one at the beginning which we didn't work, and that is our 5th repeat basically. So we just leave them unworked and we make the last stitch. So now the return pass in this case, so it works the same with the same principle as for the previous row, but our pattern is shifted. So what we need to do is, in any case, to close each Tunisian simple stitch as normal, so with a yarn over pull through 2, and each time we have 1 stitch removed, we chain 1. So in this second row you see that the first 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 stitches so these stitches are fine, so there is there are no gaps in here. So what we do is we yarn over and pull through 1 for the first stitch, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2. So now we close these 2 stitches as regular, so we pull through 2, but after these 2 stitches you see we have a gap because we removed this with this loop, so we just chain 1 and then we continue. So we close these next 2 and then we chain 1 and we go on, we close 2, chain 1, close 2 stitches and chain 1. So now here at the end you see that we had this full stitch which we worked here, and then the last stitch, and those 2 we just simply close with a yarn over pull through 2 for each one of them. And this is row 2. Now we go on with row 3. So in this case, the first, so we always pull the first loop tight, and we go on to work the second stitch, which in this case is this full stitch you see here. So in this full stitch, we simply make a Tunisian simple stitch, like that. And now, here we go with another chain 1 space. So we go into this space, and we make a full stitch. So these 2 loops, we don't, we just pick them up and we leave them on the hook, and we start with our lace pattern from these 2 stitches here. So now we Tunisian simple stitch 2, then we make a full stitch in the next chain 1 space, like this, and now we take the first stitch of this of this series that we made, this 3, and we remove it from the hook, and we go on. So it's gonna be 4 repeats also on this row. So we have 2 repeats, 2, and now be careful, because you see that here we don't have a chain one space after this this repeat here. So the third stitch of this repeat is a Tunisian simple stitch just here, and then you pull the loop of the hook. Now you see, don't forget this stitch here. This is a Tunisian simple stitch, so this time we only have one stitch left on this side, because we had two on this at the beginning. Okay, and we make the last stitch. Again, for row 3, the return pass is a bit different than from the other one. I mean, like the stitch count is different, but the principles are always the same. We close just regularly all the loops that are just regular stitches, and we chain one wherever we remove the loop from the hook. So in this case, you see the first 4 stitches are good to go, and then we will need to chain one. So I yarn over and pull through 1 for the edge, and then pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, and pull through 2. Now it's a chain 1, and then we repeat yarn over, pull through 2 twice, chain 1, yarn over, pull through 2 twice, chain 1, and chain 1. So once we get here, you see these 2 stitches are just, they were not worked at the beginning, so they're just regular stitches, and we just continue with pull through 2, pull through 2, pull through 2, and we close all of them. And you see already that we start seeing the lattice pattern. So now the row 4 is going to be the same as row 1, with the only difference that this time we will have to pick loops from these chain ones as well, and so on. So we will see again how to crochet this row. So basically the rows that are similar to row 1, just because. Okay, so let's see. We start, you see, so this time we have like these 2 stitches here. So we just pick 2 Tunisian simple stitches at the beginning, and then we have like this chain 1. So we make a full stitch. So this is the difference basically from the row 1 that we did here, because here they were just all of them, they were Tunisian simple stitches. This time we have to make full stitches in the chain 1 spaces. But as we did for row 1, we go on immediately with the pattern, so we remove this loop from the hook. Okay, and then we continue. This time we will have again 5 repeats of our pattern. So we have 2, okay, and also here pay attention, because there is no chain 1 space after this one, but there is this Tunisian simple stitch. So we go there and we make a Tunisian simple stitch, and then we close the repeat and make the last stitch. And now the return pass is really the same as we did for row 1. So we close these first 3 stitches as regular, so pull through 1, and then these 2, and then we chain 1, and we continue like this. Chain 1, so don't forget here to chain 1 and then close that last stitch. And there we go. So from now on, all the next rows are a repeat of the same ones that we saw so far. So it is going to be a repeat of row 2, 3, and 4 over and over again. So let's see again quickly. So we start with a full stitch, which we're gonna leave there, non-worked. Okay, you see, and then again here for this row we only have like these two Tunisian simple stitches, and then we go on to close the row. So let's see again, the same repeat as row 3. So for row 3 what we do is we start by making a simple stitch in the first full stitch, then we make a full stitch, and then we start with the pattern repeat. Okay, here don't get confused, there is no chain 1. So I added a few more rows, like a couple more rows, just to have a bit more of a vision of what the pattern looks like. And the last thing that I wanted to show you was how to bind off this pattern. Because, well, there are two ways in which you can do it, and it depends on your preference, I guess. So the easiest one is, so because of course you can close this pattern on whatever row you are in. All you need to do is, of course, like, so in this case, I'm on a repeat of row 2. So in this case, you see I have the first full stitch here. So what I can do is just simply slip stitch there, and then make another slip stitch in the chain 1 space, and continue like this. So basically I slip stitch like for a Tunisian simple stitch on each stitch, or with a full stitch here, and you see I just get it closed. The other way in which you can do this is to add a sort of last row that is similar to the first foundation, where you work each stitch. So you basically make a solid row. So basically you work all the stitches that you have, like these ones as Tunisian simple stitches, and like you make a full stitch in each chain 1 space. So you go on like this, and you basically make a solid row, without, so we're gonna make a regular return pass for this row, and then after this one we will close Okay, one. Alright, so now we make a return pass, regular one. So we just simply go on and yarn over, pull through 2. Alright, so you see that now we have this more solid row here at the end, and now we just slip stitch each stitch of this last row. So as for Tunisian simple stitch, and this is a way to add a little bit more, you know, of a solid edge to this stitch. Otherwise, you know, like if you close it as I showed you before, it could be a bit wonky. And here we go. We have closed our little swatch. One thing that you notice immediately is that, like, on this side, there are, I mean, it's a bit less solid than on this other side. So depending on the project that you're working on or your personal preference, what you can do to fix this is to add a couple, 1 or 2 stitches extra on this side. And just work a simple stitch there. So basically you create more of a solid edge. This is something that I did for this square that I made, so for a blanket. And you see that here I just work, before starting with the pattern, I always add 1 extra Tunisian simple stitch, which creates a sort of a more solid look for the square. But for the scarf, for example, I just worked it like this and it looks perfectly fine. So I hope you liked this stitch tutorial. I hope it was clear, so let me know if you have any questions. And always remember that you can always find the written instructions for this pattern on my blog, and I will put the link in the description. Write me if you need any help with the stitch. Looking forward to seeing what you're gonna do with it. And see you next time for another tutorial.